Disney's Mulan is often heralded as a classic feminist story where a young woman dresses as a man to take her elderly father's place in battle. At first glance, Mulan appears to be a feminist plot, with Mulan overcoming traditional gender roles to save all of China from the Huns. Throughout the film, however, masculinity is often portrayed as preferential to femininity. Is Mulan therefore actually a feminist film? Mulan's value in the beginning of the film is that of being an obedient housewife who can only earn honor by being a bride. This changes, however, when Mulan begins training under Captain Li Shang. We see the transition from Mulan as an incompetent soldier
You're a spineless, pale, pathetic lot, and you haven't got a clue,
to an experienced soldier, earning her honor in the process.
We must be swift as the coursing river, with all the force of...
Set to the tune of I'll Make a Man Out of You, Mulan begins to earn respect and honor from her peers with her training in the military. However, she only earns this honor by exemplifying traits typical of masculinity, such as physical strength and combative abilities. Is this reflective of Disney indicating that respect can only be earned by the pursuit of masculine traits? Later in the film, after Shan Yu captures the Emperor, Yao, Ling, and Chen Po pose as concubines to distract some guards. This shows how the film views women's only power as being valued by men in a romantic context.
Men want girls with good taste, obedient, who work fast-paced.
In the film, women are shown only to gain honor by exemplifying masculine traits. We must then discuss whether this principle is feminist or not. Society loosely defines feminine as having qualities or appearances traditionally associated with women, especially delicacy and prettiness. Is it therefore feminist to defy this and adopt masculine traits as Mulan did? Firstly, an egalitarian viewpoint towards gender roles erases all notions of what is expected of how men and women should act. In Mulan, society defined manhood as bravery and femininity as obedience to a husband. Some may say that Mulan defies this by joining the military in her father's place, thus showing an egalitarian and thus feminist viewpoint. However, she accomplishes this by explicitly acting in the societally imposed virtues of manhood. She acts as such due to the orders of Li Shang, showing how society is imposing values of manhood upon her. Instead of rejecting societally imposed values, she rejects the feminine ones and embraces the masculine ones, showing her not to accept an egalitarian viewpoint but to take the other side of it. It could be said, however, that she acted in this manner in order to save her father and all of China. Though there's no denying her actions were heroic, it does not follow that her actions were feminist.
Some may argue, however, that Mulan dressing as a man and becoming Ping is symbolic of the idea that women can do anything a man can do. This viewpoint, however, does not factor into account the definition of feminism and equality. The goal of feminism is to equal the playing field and usher in equality between the sexes. Arguing as such is misguided, as it reinforces the notion of the inherent differences between men and women. It is to argue merely that men and women can do the same things, but not that they should or are equal in any way. However, the intended audience of Mulan must be considered. With children being the main audience of Mulan, it must be factored in that they will not read the subtext and will instead view Mulan at face value, as a story of a woman who overcame the odds. In this context, Mulan is a morally correct story that it teaches children that they can overcome any societally imposed odds against them. Regardless, at an older age, Mulan must not be seen as a feminist film. Furthermore, at the end of the film, when Mulan is offered a position with the Emperor but refuses, we see Mulan resort back to accept the standard gender roles and likely take the position of a wife to Captain Li Shang. Though this is uncertain and not shown in the film, the way in which it is introduced leads the audience, especially those of younger age, to believe that after all her sacrifice and bravery, she will simply become a housewife. Though not addressed in the film, the existence of the uncertainty and Mulan's refusal of the Emperor's job offer are not consistent with the theme Mulan is trying to push throughout the rest of the film. In addition, the only feminist character in the entire film is Mulan. Every other female character, from Mulan's grandmother to the matchmaker, follows explicit feminine gender roles. Though Mulan is the main character, the entire theme of the story cannot rest on her alone. Even at the end of the film, Mulan is ignored when attempting to warn people of the incoming Han attack.
Listen,
Huh? Well, I'm sorry, did you say something?
Mushu.
Hey, you're a girl again, remember?
Even though Shan Yu, Chen Po, and his friends respect and love both Ping and Mulan, we see how honor is derived from masculinity, and that Mulan only earned her respect and honor by being accepted by masculine men and acting like a masculine man.
Such a generalization is clearly not egalitarian and lends itself further to the argument that Disney's Mulan is ultimately not a feminist film. To Disney, for a woman to gain honor, she must either become an obedient housewife or abandon her feminine traits entirely in the pursuit of typically masculine values. Perhaps Disney reducing women to objects in Mulan is inadvertent, and I'm reading too much into this. After all, Mulan did stop the Main Han army by disobeying Shan Yu's orders, which shows her independence.
How could you miss? It was 3 feet in front of you!
So what do you think? Is Mulan not actually a feminist film, or am I just over-exaggerating the extent to which the adoption of masculine values matters and relevance to a feminist plot?